What happens when one of Hollywood's most explosive directors clashes with some of the biggest stars in the industry? We're talking egos, artistic vision, and behind-the-scenes drama so intense it's changed careers forever. From Oscar winners who walked away from iconic roles, to once favored actors, Tarantino now refuses to speak to. These are the 5 actors Quentin Tarantino reportedly hated working with, and you might think you know the full story. Trust us, you don't. It was supposed to be Will Smith's most daring role yet. Tarantino had written Unchained with him in mind, a freed slave turned bounty hunter on a violent quest to rescue his wife. It was bold, it was bloody, it was Oscar bait. But Smith didn't just pass, he challenged Tarantino's very vision. I couldn't connect to violence being the answer, Smith told reporters. He wanted love to be the film's core, not revenge. He also reportedly objected to the fact that Django, the title character, didn't kill the villain himself. That was a deal-breaker. Tarantino, a notorious control freak when it comes to his scripts, wasn't having it. He'd already crafted the perfect arc, Django, evolving under the influence of Dr. Schultz, Smith's notes. Rejected. The result? Jamie Foxx stepped in. The film exploded at the box office, and Tarantino won an Oscar. But that relationship with Smith, over. Privately, Tarantino has called the experience frustrating. They haven't worked together since and likely never will. When Tarantino started writing Kill Bill, he had one man in mind for the mysterious Bill. Not David Warren Beatty. Yes, the suave legend from Bonnie and Clyde. Tarantino imagined Beatty bringing charm, gravitas, and a touch of Hollywood royalty to the role. But Beatty said no, simply wasn't up for it. Why? He didn't want to shoot in China? That's it. The production schedule was long, the travel was demanding. Beatty, then in his 60s, Tarantino was crushed. The entire character had been built around Beatty's vibe, so Tarantino pivoted. He rewrote the part with Carradine in mind, shifting the character from smooth operator to Zen warrior. It worked, but it wasn't the plan. To this day, there's no public beef. But sources say Tarantino took the rejection personally. When you write a role with a specific actor in mind, and they pass, it's not just business, it's betrayal. Long before Pulp Fiction became a cinematic revolution, Tarantino had another actor in mind for Marcellus Wallace. Not Ving Rhames' Max Julian. Julian, famous for his role in The Mac, was a blaxploitation icon. Tarantino, obsessed with the genre, saw Julian as the perfect tribute. But Julian refused. Why? One brutal scene. The infamous basement scene where Marcellus is assaulted. Julian said absolutely not. He didn't want that moment associated with his legacy, and he didn't want to alienate his fans. Tarantino, once again, had built a character around an actor and, once again, had to pivot. He was reportedly deeply disappointed. Rhames took the role and nailed it. But to fans who know the backstory, Julian's refusal was a powerful statement about personal boundaries and a stinging reminder. Tarantino doesn't always get his way. Viggo Mortensen, an actor with fire, range, and presence. Tarantino's been trying to work with him since Reservoir Dogs in 1992, but it never happened. He even wrote the part for him. A sadistic, violent outlaw, exactly the kind of character Mortensen could crush. But Mortensen declined. Most notably, Tarantino offered Mortensen the role of Jody DeMarge in The Hateful Eight. He simply didn't have the bandwidth. Not out of creative disagreement, out of exhaustion. He was filming Joya and Far From Men, both intense projects that required him to travel and even learn new languages. And while there's no hatred between them, insiders say the repeated nemesis have left Tarantino frustrated. He's publicly praised Mortensen as an actor, but privately, that door might be closed for good. Tarantino, again, was forced to recast. Channing Tatum stepped in, delivering a solid performance, but it was no more. By 2015, Jennifer Lawrence was everywhere. Oscar winner, fruit runner, bankable star, and Tarantino wanted her badly for the role of Daisy Domergue in The Hateful Eight. This wasn't just a cameo. Daisy was the film's dark, heart-chained, bloodied, unpredictable. Tarantino saw Lawrence as perfect. She said no. Reports point to scheduling. She was juggling multiple blockbuster franchises, and The Hateful Eight required months of harsh filming conditions. Jennifer Jason Leigh eventually took the role and received an Oscar nomination. Still, Tarantino fans often wonder, what could Jennifer Lawrence have brought to that snowbound cabin? Would she have changed the entire feel of the film? Others say the violent, brutal nature of the role gave her pause. Tarantino, by all accounts, handled the rejection gracefully, but it was a massive disappointment. Possibly, but once again, an actor's refusal forced Tarantino to rewrite his vision. What do all these stories have in common? Tarantino is a visionary, no one doubts that, but he's also rigid. He writes roles with specific people in mind and expects them to follow his blueprint. Actors, on the other hand, are artists too. They have their limits, their values, their careers to protect. When these two forces collide, it's not always fireworks. It's often silence, regret, and a missing credit on the IMDb page. Tarantino doesn't just cast actors, he builds worlds around them. When they walk away, they don't just turn down a job. They fracture the architecture of his films. That's why, even without public feuds, these moments sting. Smith, Beatty, Julian Mortensen, Lawrence, they all left a mark on Tarantino's career. Not by acting in his films, but by refusing to. And for a director obsessed with control, that's the ultimate insult. So, does Quentin Tarantino hate these actors? Maybe not in the tabloid sense, but professionally. Let's just say he won't be calling them anytime soon. These 5 names, big, bold, and brilliant, each represent a unique moment when Tarantino's vision hit a wall. And what's left behind is more than just what-ifs. It's a reminder that even genius comes with limitations. Whose rejection surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into Hollywood's hidden tensions, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We've got more untold stories coming soon.